I've lived in Tangier for 6 months total, 3 months in this specific apartment, and it's under $900. So I'll give you a tour of the apartment and show you what you can actually get in Tangier at this price point. I'll start by taking you over to the entrance. This is a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 2 balconies, and it's actually apartment number 2. I'll show you a lot of 2s out here. Or a lot of 2s in here. Let's get started with the living room. This is actually where I spend most of my time. They call it the salon here, French, from what I remember from French class. And the salon is very, very important, I feel like, in Moroccan households. I've seen very, very simple houses. The whole house is really, really simply decorated, but the salon is very extravagant and decorated. So it's clear that it's pretty important for everyone to have a nice looking salon. So, I spent a lot of time here. Unfortunately, it is a bit ruined by me, actually. Because I work remotely, I need a desk set up. And so I set it up over here. This is actually a table from the kitchen, and it's very ugly. It doesn't go with the rest of the room, but I don't like working in the kitchen or in the other rooms because this is the best natural light, and I like the natural light while I'm working since I'm here almost all day. So we've got a TV over here. You can see the lighting behind the TV. I really like the lighting in here because I hate light from above. I'll show you all the lights because there are a lot of different light options. I don't know if you can actually see it properly on camera, but I really like this light from the TV. This is pretty much the only one that I use. Also gives me a nice background when I'm working, I think. And basically what they've done here, I'll try to show a closer angle as well. So they have the wall, and then they have this kind of slab that is put on the wall. I don't actually know. It looks to be fully integrated on the wall, and then behind the slab they have this lighting that goes here. So it's really nice because you have that kind of, what is it called, the kind of strip lighting, but it's hidden so that it doesn't look like a college dorm room, which I appreciate. Perfect for me. This is a very small desk. This is not ideal at all, but it is what it is. There was no other workspace in this apartment, so yeah, just left it as it is. Couches, I don't know if you can see all the couches, but I'll put in clips. There are 3 different couches. There are 2 of these small ones that are just like this, and then 1 long one, so lots of space for sitting around, I guess, in the salon, which usually is just me, because I live here alone. I don't think I mentioned that, but I'm here alone, so this is all really just for me. I'm usually more of a minimalist, so I'm really surprised that I actually like this style. You can see it on the ceiling. I'm surprised I like it, but I do. I see it a lot of these really intricate designs throughout Morocco, even just the mosques or the streets or whatever. Everything is designed really intricately, as you can see. And again, not usually my type, but here specifically, for whatever reason, I like it. This is basically my background for Zoom calls. There's a prayer mat here, which I actually really like. I obviously don't use it for praying, but I feel like it's just a nice blue accent in the room. Anyway, moving on from the living room, heading back into the hallway over here. This is basically the main hallway, very small hallway. I don't even know if we can even call it a hallway. But the first thing in the hallway is this washroom. Let's go in here. You can see my towels are still drying up here. This is, I wouldn't say this is the main washroom. There's another washroom in the master bedroom. You can see there's a shower. It looks pretty new and renovated. I've only used this shower 1 time. I mainly use the other one, as I said. I use the master bedroom washroom mainly for showering and using the toilet. This one I use for like makeup, hair. This is where I have all my washroom stuff. You can see, I don't know if this is organized. I might be exposing myself here. It's not terrible. That's it for that washroom. And then going into the master bedroom, as I said, here there is a washroom as well. And actually a closet. I never use this closet, but I do have it. Yeah, it's actually completely empty now that I'm realizing that. And then we've also got a washroom. As I said, this is the one that I use for showering. It looks more empty because it's really just for shower and wash and toilet. And so I'll show you what this one looks like as well. Here you can see I've got my bath stuff in here. This is the actual one I use. Pretty decent washroom. I would prefer a little bit more spacious, but it is what it is. One thing that I actually hate, and I'm smelling it right now, I've had this issue not just in this apartment, but also in the other apartment in Tangier. I asked the host about it, and I'll tell you the issue. It smells terrible. Here, if I just close this door, I think it kind of masked the smell for the rest of the apartment, but the other one, because of the way the door worked, sometimes you could smell it throughout the apartment. There was just this off kind of like sewer smell. I asked the host, and he said basically when it gets windy, you have that issue all over Tangier. I don't know if it's true that it's all over. I don't know if maybe newer builds don't have the issue, but in the 2 apartments that I've had that issue. Let me know. I really would love to know. That's actually one of the main things that I disliked about Tangier. I'm going to make a separate video where I kind of give my conclusions if I'd come back here. I really love this city. To give you a brief rundown, I love the city, but one of the main things I hate is that plumbing issue where it's not constant, but when it is windy, and it often is windy in Tangier, there's this sewage smell that just smells terrible. It's also one of the main reasons that I only use this washroom for using the toilet. The other one I don't use at all because it's closer to the main area. Here I just close that door, and then throughout the rest of the apartment I don't have to smell that weird sewage smell. But if you have any solutions, whether it's different Airbnb, different area, something that I need to do with the plumbing, any solutions, if any of you guys have anything, I would love to know, because honestly, it's one of the main things that I didn't like about Tangier is the toilet issue. And again, I had it in both apartments, so I would love to know if you guys have any advice. Anyway, enough talking about the toilet. We're in the master bedroom. Again, the lighting here is awesome. I'll show you here. There's a TV in here. I haven't turned it on once because I usually watch in the living room. Here is more of my sleeping area. Actually, I've got some clothes peeking out here of the closet, but you can see that I have the same lighting that I have in the living room. I have it here in the bedroom, which I love. Again, don't use it as much or at all. I don't use the TV, but I still just kind of like it. And then you can see over the bed, we've got the cool lighting as well. My bed is not perfectly made. I just have my blankets on top there. Like it's cozy, so don't mind that. There's also a balcony here. So we'll step out to the balcony. Thing is, you can see that there are these blackout blinds. All you have to do is just press the buttons here. Here, I'm gonna open for the balcony as well, which is over here. This is really good for sleeping though. I actually really like it because since I work US hours, my sleep schedule is not absolutely perfect. I would like to go to sleep a little bit earlier. And so these blackout blinds just help for me to be able to stay asleep even if I end up going to bed really late. So I appreciate that. Anyway, heading out to the balcony, here it is. You can see that this apartment is right on the road. It's a bit dirty out here because I really don't come out here. They're doing construction out there, so don't mind that. This is what it looks like. It's a very cloudy day, so it's not looking very pretty. Because they're doing construction, the floor is quite dirty out there. So now I'm kind of regretting stepping out, but I'm just gonna take these slippers I'm wearing off so I don't spread that dirt all around the house. As I said, I've got a closet over here. I really don't have that much in terms of clothes just because, you know, always traveling and stuff, so have to fit everything in a suitcase. I've got some clothes here, and I've got more clothes in my laundry room that I keep as well. Let's turn off these lights. Don't want to waste electricity. There's so many lights. Okay. You'd think after being here so long, I'd figure out what all the lights are for, but there are just so many. This hallway, there are a couple chairs here. I never sit here. I just put, that's my purse. That's pretty much all I have in here. So, kitchen's over there. We'll go there in a second. First, I'll just show you this second bedroom. This is supposed to be a kid's room. You can see it's a total mess. I basically use it as a laundry room, so I have clothes drying on the drying rack here. But this drying rack, unfortunately, is not big enough for all my stuff, so a lot of it gets thrown up there to dry. So as I said, there are 2 beds in here. It's supposed to be like a kid's room or something. Again, for me, it's just laundry and storage pretty much. So nothing else to be said about that, I think. So let's sneak off over into the kitchen. This is the last room here. One wonderful thing we have here is laundry. I do have a washing machine, which I very much appreciate because, you know, don't have to go anywhere else to do the laundry. Gas stove, of course. I love gas stove. And it's very big. It's just so spacious. I love having a very spacious kitchen because it just gives you space to move around and do stuff. And it's nice, especially if you're alone, you don't need a big kitchen, but if you have someone like come over and cook with you or something, it's really, for me, I find it annoying to have a small, depends on who it is, like, it depends. But generally, it's just nice to have space in a kitchen, I would say. Then we've got, this is basically the sink. You can see I'm drying some dishes here. Unfortunately, no washing machine here, which sucks because I don't really like to wash the dishes, but is what it is. Very, very big fridge. As you can see, fridge and freezer. So happy with that. And here I've just got some grocery bags and stuff. That's pretty much it in the kitchen. We also have the second balcony out here. So I'll show you what this looks like. It's an interior balcony. I don't want to fully open the blackout blinds, but I'll just, you know what, quickly show you what this all looks like. It's a pretty boring one. Nothing too interesting to see in that one. So I think that's pretty much it for the apartment tour. I'm going to give you a couple more details, pricing, location, everything like that in case you guys are curious. As I said, let's wrap up with pricing details. I've got a few notes for you guys here. So number 1 is price. As I said, it's under 900 USD per month. That price includes utilities. It's an Airbnb. So definitely you can get way, way, way lower pricing if you do a local rental. but it's just super convenient to use Airbnb because, you know, all the utilities are included. The host can sort stuff out for you. If I have issues with gas or any issues, internet issues, Wi-Fi issues, whatever it is, the host sorts it out for me and he's super helpful. Also because, let's say you get locked, this happened to me in the other apartment here. I got locked out of my apartment because it's one of those doors that automatically locks when he closes it. I actually have the same thing over here and I didn't have a spare key. In a situation like that, then you have to call a locksmith. If you don't have, it can be difficult to get a locksmith and then you're trying to speak Arabic. I can speak at least a little bit of French to communicate, but sometimes the locksmith doesn't speak French. Whatever it might be, there are going to be issues. So just having basically a host that is a local and can sort all that stuff out for you, for me, it's worth the premium personally. But as I said, if price is the most important thing, you can get lower prices just by going directly with a rental here. I just value ease over price to a certain point, so that's why I go with Airbnb pretty much everywhere I go. I'll show you the area that this Airbnb is in. I'll put up a map so you can see, but it's very close to the city center. To go to Iberia, it takes 5 minutes in a car. Call in and drive, it's, I don't know, like $1.50 when you convert it over to dollars. It's not right downtown or in the super touristy areas, which I actually appreciate. It just feels a little bit more local. Also, the prices are definitely a little bit lower here just because of the location, but it's still, I like it because it's local, but still very close to everything that you'd want to go to, like extremely close. So for me, location has been absolutely perfect. That's it for today's apartment tour. I'll see you next week for another video.